Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Igon. Thanks for checking out another episode of Esports Analysis. Today, for the first time ever, I decided I'm going to hop on board with Priestahh. So they are playing a 10s game, but we're only a couple days away from CDL Paris, where all of the top teams other than Chicago will be there. So I really wanted to watch some of Priestahh, get an idea of how he plays, how he communicates, the routes that he normally takes, just because we have not seen him on my channel yet. So I figured it would be something interesting to watch. So this is where we are. Plus, in terms of actual team scrims, Chicago obviously isn't at this next event, so they're not really streaming anything at the moment other than Warzone, of course. But with that, the other thing that I'll say is that I do want to go ahead and I want to listen in quite a bit, because we've never heard his team comms, we've never heard about strategy or, again, the routes he takes, stuff like that. So we are going to be listening in quite a bit to exactly what he's saying as this map progresses. So just real quick, as this is about to rotate, there's 5 seconds left on P1. You can see that Priesth's team over and over again are hitting this top side of the map, which is a little bit odd because normally you hit through mid or you try to contest in terms of P1 and then flank through from the bottom side of the map. But nice kill there from Priestahh. They don't quite have control of P2 spawns yet. Looks like they might have right there. It looks like Vivid got a 2-piece towards the bottom of the map. Zero also got a kill. So they were able to push us out, which is a really good sign for his team, because normally if you get a ton of time inside P1, most of the time you don't flip for P2. So we'll see where he comes up off spawn. He spawned on the bottom, and we actually just saw somebody spawn on the bottom of the map right there. So just as we hop into a map breakdown real quick, we just saw Priestahh spawn right here, and while he was spectating, he saw somebody spawn at the top of the map. So they have map control, they have top and bottom, and they have control of the current hardpoint P2. Now, as he comes up off of spawn, what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to push through P1, because if you can get top and bottom L control, then that makes it a lot easier to push through and flip spawns for P5. But this is always a contested area, right? We watched this multiple times covering the Florida Mutineers over the past couple days as they won CDL Minnesota. But as this was rotating from P2 to P3, if they had control of P2, they pushed through P1 really hard. If they didn't have control of P2, they sent 2 or 3 people inside of P1 to counter that push through. So just something to watch there as this series progresses. But with that, I want to go ahead and I want to make sure that we're listening in. So I'm still going to talk where I see things that are super important, but otherwise, let's go ahead, let's listen in and hear Priestah's team comms.
Left side, Dylan, dead. Nice.
Go on, we focus.
Crossing hill, Zinny, we crossing hill.
One top grader now in there, in the window.
They have a trophy front hill, trophy front hill. I'm all dead.
Let me go top.
I got naded bottom, I'm fucking one shot, bottom.
Mid map, so.
Cell dead. He's weak on you, going on your steps, yeah.
Yeah, he's top all steps now.
Flashing it. He's flashing.
I built the trophy,
I'm nading it. I'm one shot bottom. I hit him on hill.
Top got me. Ace him up top, ace him up.
So far, we're about halfway through P3, and they've done a really nice job. So not Priestah's team, but the team that they're playing with Attach and people like that, they're doing a really nice job. Attach, Celium, Methods, they're doing a nice job of holding down P1. So Priestahh pushed that 2 or 3 times. He just wasn't able to get through. Ooh, I'm kind of surprised that Priestahh didn't get that kill right there. But nice job being able to counter that. Now, there are 18 seconds left, and the biggest thing that I'm seeing right now is that they have spawns for P5. So basically, really all you have to do is get inside of P4, do whatever you can to, of course, pick up time, but try to contest as much as you can. If you can contest inside of P4 and hold down those spawns for P5, then you're going to be set up. You already have 85 points through the first set of rotations, so if you can get another 30 points or so, you're going to be looking pretty good after the first set of rotations. So let's go ahead, listen back in.
Yeah, we're trying up P1.
I won't have green.
Nice.
Hold on to his door.
No, he's close on the fucking door, dead.
Corner, and 2 and 2.
Green, weak so.
ILLEY, watch that hill. ILLEY, absolutely. There's
No, top green as well, so.
Yeah, there's a no.
I spawned in 3. I spawned fire.
I deal on the cross. Left with you.
Yeah, make sure we
push
don't
this
flip.
out, Priest.
Yeah, I'm
still
going
on
to
hill. Close right corner. He ran to my
Top green.
He's dead on hill.
Top green, top green, so.
More crossing forward. Stun back green.
One thing I want you guys to listen in as you kind of watch through the rest of this is you never really hear like, hey, let's make sure that we're locking down this. We don't have players bottom side of the map. Make sure somebody gets top heaven. Make sure somebody is inside heart. Like, you never see communication like that. Every time you watch 10s like this, it's always, yeah, Celium's here, or Cell got a 2-piece, or, you know, it's just they're always talking about where people are at or where they are at based on actual strats. I mean, that's probably to be expected, of course, because they're not playing with their actual teammates, but it really is just a lot of where I'm spawning, where I'm dying, where I see people versus what should we be setting up, make sure we're rotating here, etc.
Top bell and back green.
Yeah, top
Put
out.
her done.
I got time.
I spawned on green.
They've been take it.
Grenade so
I'm
afraid.
gonna take it.
One
Go
splash
top
front,
third,
that's
top
what
third,
we
top
You
third.
hit me, I think.
Can you
Top
guys
third or
hold?
something.
He's above it somewhere.
Now, this is
Keep it
something
up,
that's a
keep it
little bit different, right? You don't normally see this very often. There's 30 seconds left. So as we bring up the mini map here, let's just put it in blue. Celium's team has control of P5. Yeah, Celium. Priestah's team has control of P5. He spawned up top side of the map, kind of by back green. Rather than push forward to P5 to offer support, with 30 seconds left, he immediately hit the flank and he rushed out. So he's right here where we personally see him right now. So that is just a little bit of an insight in terms of what's happening when Atlanta plays. If there's like 30 seconds left, perhaps it's Priestahh that you can see rotating from P5, trying to set up spawns for P2. We'll see if he's successful, but there wasn't any hesitation whatsoever. As soon as he came up off of spawn, he hit the top side of the map and he tried to flip for P2. Interesting to see there.
Camera door got me. Nice. Team
Yeah,
kill,
but
team kill.
let's
Alright,
go,
fine,
They hit it, they
Oh,
hit that, they've hit that.
Yeah.
Just one there.
Nice.
Top AC.
Ace
Drop it down.
weak there. Ardo.
Right
Yeah,
there, his
Ardor,
teammate
Ardor,
spawns on top of him.
Close dead.
I was in. Good shot. Someone pick a bright.
He's flanked. He just hit through the right.
On the
Far
far
right, far right. Nice.
Nice one mid map right now. Hidden door probably. Hit that. He just mid map.
Might be top.
Dwarming me, chop.
I'll get you top. I'll get you
Top
top.
attached. Top attached.
Yo, push out.
Great,
Someone
great.
push out right.
One thing to notice right there, and you just heard them talk about it, they're saying somebody push out right. They don't have anybody watching the top side of the map. Now, of course, they do. Priestahh just spawned there, but right before there, who was that? Priestahh died, and was it Temp? Those two died top side of the map. When Priestahh comes up, he's spawning on the complete opposite side of the map. So we'll see if their push through the top side of the map is successful again. But that's something that they didn't quite have control of as it rotated to P1 initially.
One is top
Go
two.
top cap, I
Top
think.
PC, yo, top PC, hide.
So dead. One more jump out. Top out right now. Jump out.
Recruit weak, Illy.
Got him.
Nice. Fucking hell.
Mid. Oh, mid map right now. Mid map. I'm gonna nade over.
Map dead.
Weak.
I got him, I got naded.
Top block cell.
On hill right now. Touch.
I'm just cutting off the
left.
rest.
Okay,
I
no.
got one mid.
Also, something that you don't normally see, Priestah's team had control of P2 spawns to begin with. They spawned out, and then they were able to overtake it almost immediately again. Normally, when you're playing a pro team, that just doesn't happen very often, right? If you flip spawns, you're normally able to hold it, and you're able to hold it to begin with, but if you do get flipped, it certainly usually doesn't happen again. So I would imagine Priestah's team to go on quite a bit of a run right here.
They could be out of
Spawned out.
really.
No. You're good. Nothing's crossed.
Literally
Half
GP
top
spawns.
AC,
Top
half top
AC,
AC.
top AC.
I'm looking at
Obviously
Scap.
dead.
I don't see him Scap yet.
Watch that door.
One
Watch the door.
shot,
Team.
top AC,
Door team.
Zenny.
Literally one shot.
I
Mini
need
guard door,
it.
one shot.
I
got
want
one.
smoke.
Come on, the door. On the box. There's only box. Only Salty. Ready for green. Dylan, one shot.
Yeah,
Fork.
one got through me.
Dylan, one shot fork.
Illy, one shot our door. Fucking you, Ant.
Nailed it.
I got him. Go.
No, where Dylan went. Dylan dead. Nice.
There's something on me. Top out. Back it up. Top out somewhere.
Yo, one's
Sim.
mid map. Yo, in bottom green, into, bottom green, into.
One I knew.
You gonna
One
flank
Draco.
top green maybe?
Okay, right now.
As I'm watching this, I don't know, it's a little bit odd because we saw Priestahh continue to watch the bottom side of the map over there towards P1, but even when his team had 4 people down, they of course spawned up at the top by tires, but there was never anybody that pushed through. You constantly saw him window peek back and forth over and over again the bottom side of the map, and nobody ever pushed through. So nice job of slaying out by his teammates, and right there they immediately flip for P5. We'll see if they're able to hold it down, but just thought that was interesting there.
Try to get top green.
Attach top out, one shot.
I can get low. I'm gonna fight top.
One top green, one holding gate.
Yo, one shot, so.
How about that?
This one's weak mid. Nice.
Top green's in, top green's in.
That was our side hill.
Nay, hill.
Good top
One behind
green.
you, they spawned out.
Top one.
Yeah, there's fucking
done.
there's 2 mid on me.
One more in hill, one more push out, low out.
Yeah, he's bottom out.
Got
Nice,
him.
that's him.
Yo, Zenny top green.
Oh my god, this time.
Oh,
Yeah,
two
top
already
green.
green. 2 already green. Top and bottom.
Got one, there's 2 more. I
I'm
think
up
it's
to the
attached
left
and
to hold.
I flipped again.
Bro.
Gonna trophy down left.
Top green and mid one shot. Tools one shot. Tools
Top
one
green
shot.
still.
Top
One
green.
nade, you back green. Oh, they have a trophy again.
I'm cutting off top. Oh, top green.
Bottom
Vinny.
tools weak. Push out green.
One shot mid.
That's
Wait, I got two mid.
Other thing that I'll mention real here, kind of as this winds down a little bit, or we set up for the finish, is that Priest has been struggling a little bit as of late. He's not doing terrible here, right? He's kind of like getting a kill, dying, getting a kill, dying. He's basically going 1-to-1. At least that's what it seems like. But over the last couple matches that we've seen him drop like a 0.7, and we've seen him drop even as low as like a 0.5 overall for a match. I think that was the match against Florida. So interesting to see him struggle a little bit. I don't know if it's just not being in, but like kills like that, you'd expect him to win. Whereas the person that killed him, who was that? Celium slide canceled around the corner, and he kind of jumped into the corner. So maybe that gave Celium a little bit of an edge, rushing right there without being prepared for methods, being on that heady. I don't know. It seems like he's maybe not performing the best that he's probably performed all year. Let's go ahead. Let's listen in for the finish here.
I'm trying to go top
Heady
three.
dead on one shot.
Shot, good shot.
Yeah, he's top white.
Maps
Or top
there.
I got top three.
Close out. I smoked out yellow.
This one
One shot
goes.
top three dead.
I'm stunned.
Still top
One
three
more top
shots.
white.
No,
One
one,
top
one,
white.
one,
Top
one,
white.
one,
Top white. Top white.
That's still top.
We're in the spawner.
No,
Nice.
dead.
That's one close. That's one
They're gonna be
close.
left. They're gonna be left.
We don't
Reloading,
win off of
no.
this.
That's in bottom
I'm going
middle.
up top. I'm getting up top.
Alright, I'm
Trying
gonna
to
pressure.
close, right?
Top three already. Dead. We don't win off of this, by the way. Someone like make sure we get out of here.
Put their selling.
Go left. Go left.
Only now right now.
Yeah, he's on me hill.
Nice job right there from the communication. That's really the first time we heard that, where somebody said, we don't win here. Let's make sure that we get out before the hill's over.
Yo, let's get
Yeah,
through.
let
Let's
me
get
take
through.
it. Let me take it on you guys.
I got one mid.
All right,
here.
dead.
There was the guy top L.
Stack on me.
Yeah,
Two
top
stack.
out,
Two
top
stack.
out,
We can just cut across. They're all stacked. Literally, the
Yeah,
whole
there's
team's
Stack,
on
there's no
there.
one stack, Illy.
Illy dead.
He's gonna spawn close out.
Smoke close out.
Yeah, try to get in there. Try to get in there.
I got top AC. Top AC dead. What's closer side? I think.
Beat on, Asen.
Beat on dead.
Nice job.
More their door. He's beat on behind you, Ant.
Yeah, I got
One
me.
shot, one
minute,
shot, cell, one
minute,
shot,
beat on.
cell. Just hold out.
cell,
Just try to hold
cell.
out if we can.
Yeah,
Going right. I should have. I have a trophy. I can
Top L on us.
top out.
Native me.
on the hill.
Bottom L.
Bottom up.
Top green. Top
Actually, one
green.
out.
Challenge now. Then one
Top green as well. Flanking
One
L.
more on
no,
hill,
one
one on
back.
hill attached. He's close up.
On D.
Oh,
Square.
top alley jumped in.
Illy dead. Yo, come smoke off the AC hop.
Yeah, I did.
I have a trophy. I'm gonna throw it bottom.
I got flash.
Flash up, you see? Okay, one top.
Nice, good job. Top scout.
Later,
Nice,
Top
make plays.
Fuck, I
Gap,
show my
gap, one shot,
trophy.
gap, one shot.
He's
dead.
dead.
Red crate.
Red crate dead.
Nice.
Collapse on the hill. On their door. Cell. One shot their door. Cell. He's super weak.
Neither
Yeah,
are,
he
neither
killed
are.
himself.
Shotsy and Tem with a nice two-piece there to get in. So I don't know. It just seemed, even the movement from Priestahh seemed a little robotic, right? When he was slide canceling, he wasn't necessarily like around a corner when he was slide canceling. It just looked a little bit off. I don't know if he's just going through some struggles or what. But let's go ahead. Let's wait for the score to come up here. Looks like he dropped 20. So overall, he was -9, 20, and 29. 0 was 30 and 28. Vivid, 32 and 36. That's a ton of interactions. Think about that. Vivid had, what are we at? 12-7. So Vivid had 19 more interactions than Priestahh did on the map. A lot of time he was picking up at the end of hills. So Priestahh led his team in time. He had almost 2 minutes of hill time, but just interesting to see there. Other thing that I'll say is that a couple other matches after this, so I think it might have been the Azir Cave, Zero had multiple 40 bombs, so like 2 in a row. I wish that we could see his scrim because that's something that probably everybody would like to see as well. So with that one, guys, in the comment section down below, let me know if you enjoyed this sort of thing. I know that it's 10s, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what other people's play styles are. So let me know down below. If you're new around here, you enjoy this sort of content, I put out brand new videos every single day covering the CDL, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave a like before you head on the way. It really helps out the channel. And with that, thank you so much. I will catch you in tomorrow's upload.